What happened when plans change? On this episode, we're going to talk to Jack as he goes through the process of realizing that the goals that he originally had for his creation have changed, and why that might not be such a bad thing at all.
So how can we help with this with you, young Skywalker? You hate that. He hates the analogy.
No, I love Star. I don't really fancy myself.
You don't? Who are you? Leia? Are you Boba Fett?
I think he's Rey.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's a good one. I like Rey a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about running.
You didn't answer the question though. Who are you? Are you Jabba the Hutt? Are you Anakin?
Can I get to be a Porg? Is that an option?
Yes.
One of the most important things before we take on any major undertaking to create is that you want to sit down and think about what is the goal for creation. Are you creating this podcast because you want to unlock a job opportunity? Are you launching this video show because you're hoping to be able to use it to get consulting clients? Or are you creating this book because you want to be able to use it to unlock a startup opportunity? Well, for Jack, he thought about his creation, this book, as a tool for him to unlock opportunities as a consultant. But as he went along the way in the journey of creating, and in fact being able to share this out with others, plans changed for him. Now, that's one of the things that's important about creations, is that sometimes the learnings along the way enable us to think differently and take those facts and situations and find out what is a better way for us to turn our creation into the outcome we now really want.
I want to just go back to the origin of this for you. And that was, you saw sort of a market seem that there's a potential consulting business to be made eventually. So the monetization from this one, from your standpoint, was, paint Jack as, a guru of some sort, and probably not be coaching, the wealthy folks from Montgomery County, but maybe folks from China, or maybe folks from, Azerbaijan, or whatever it is, who want to see Model UN as a way to get scholarships in the US.
And this is completely outrageous.
You have no proof for the demanded arrest of civilians. They can avoid your left.
And if I may,
and they haven't been met with resistance.
Before military action is taken, we can meet.
That's still sort of like the thought process a little bit, and maybe use that money to pay for law school or whatever it is.
That was certainly the process at the outset, but I think that, over time, and certainly after talking to people both in the industry and just kind of, a little bit of self-reflection, I think that I came to the conclusion that, coaching and tutoring only helps to a certain point. I think that, the monetization element is certainly a little bit more potent and more powerful when you're actually, one-on-one with someone. You can charge high rates and that sort of thing. But the reality is, this is an activity that I really wholly believe should be, or have the option to be undergone by literally everybody in the country and everybody in the world. And to that end, I mean, when you look at that market, that's not necessarily something that can be alleviated or really, done properly using one-to-one consulting or coaching as the main primary focus. What a lot of these areas lack and need are high-quality equipment and instruction in the form of actual books. I mean, in a lot of cases, I
heard you say equipment, and I immediately thought, we need more gavels, everyone. More gavels! No? What do you need for equipment? What's that mean? I'm sorry, I'm being facetious.
No, yeah.
In some ways, I don't...
No, of course.
I've never moonied.
Sure. I mean, well, in a lot of ways, it's basic school supplies. So, I mean, when you run a Model UN conference, you go through reams and reams of paper, just from, the different materials that delegates basically need to write stuff down. You need, the actual technological infrastructure. So stuff as simple as a USB, really goes a long way, or even just computers that people can commonly come together and work on, right? But even then, you need to make sure that everybody is on the same kind of basic playing field when it comes to actual technical expertise. So, stuff like the book and stuff like, that kind of basic instruction is really needed in a lot of cases where, they're being taught by teachers that want to start this club but don't necessarily have a good footing or didn't really do it themselves and really don't know where to start. The idea would be to hopefully get away from this model within Model UN of, the monetization of Model UN. That is, honestly, that is a broken system in that it really does favor people that don't need the help, frankly. it favors the people that can get the tutoring, that can get the $20 books from, the big, there's no such thing as a big Model UN consulting company, but I mean, that can get the more expensive help that other students can't, right?
Okay.
At Georgetown, we do a really, we don't do enough, frankly, but we do a little bit of work with, Cesar Chavez High School here in DC, right? And that's one of our main partners. And you go in and you realize that, instead of, we go in with this expectation that we can run before we can walk almost with these students, right? And the idea that, they have the requisite level of, even basic Model UN knowledge that will allow them to then take some more advanced lessons kind of to heart. When in reality, they don't. I mean, they don't have the resources, they don't have the time even, or the, bandwidth. I mean, they're doing all sorts of other things in their life to do this, which is very much a boondoggle. It's not necessarily something that's even remotely essential for the student experience, right? Coolest thing about that idea is that it's not necessarily confined to Model UN. I mean, Model UN is like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to extracurriculars. I think the statistic was something like 5 million school children all around the United States at all levels, both collegiate and high school, participated in some sort of debate, whether that was Model UN, actual formal debate, Congress, Model Congress, mock trial, literally any kind of variant of that. So I think that'd be a really cool, interesting idea and something that we could play around with a little bit as a starting point.